Downtown Dallas has one of the highest office vacancy rates in America. Entire towers sit half empty. Lobbies that were built to handle thousands of workers a day now echo when a single pair of shoes crosses the marble. Security guards watch elevators that barely move. Lunch spots that once had lines out the door at noon close by 2 in the afternoon because the crowd never shows up. But drive 20 miles north to Plano or Frisco, and the scene flips completely. Packed streets, glass skylines rising out of what used to be pasture, light rail gliding past apartment towers, Fortune 500 headquarters with flags snapping in the Texas wind, sidewalks full of people walking to dinner at 7 on a Tuesday, rooftop bars at capacity, parking garages overflowing into valet lines. The real city of Dallas is not in Dallas anymore. It moved 20 miles north. And here's the part that makes this story different from every other American downtown story you have heard. It did not happen by accident. It did not happen because of a recession, or a crime wave, or a factory closing. It happened because Dallas quietly decided, over 50 years, to build its future somewhere else. And the places it built are so strange, so dense, so urban, that the word suburb has basically stopped describing what they are. What a suburb is supposed to be. Picture a suburb in your head right now. You already know the image. Cul-de-sacs curling off a feeder road, a strip mall with a nail salon, a dry cleaner and a Thai restaurant, 2-car garages, a Target somewhere, lawns, a middle school named after a founding father. People wake up there, drive 30 minutes to a real city to work, then drive 30 minutes back to sleep. That's the deal. That's what a suburb is. A bedroom community that empties out every morning and fills up every night. That expectation holds almost everywhere in America. New Jersey suburbs feed Manhattan. Evanston feeds Chicago. The peninsula feeds San Francisco. The model is simple, and it's been the same for 70 years. Now look at Addison, Texas. Addison is 4.5 square miles. That's smaller than most college campuses. You could walk across it in under an hour. And packed inside those 4.5 square miles are more than 180 restaurants, steakhouses, ramen bars, tapas spots, craft breweries, sushi counters, barbecue joints with 2-hour waits on Saturday nights. That is not a suburb. That is a restaurant district pretending to be one. And if you like videos about how geography and development decisions quietly reshape entire American cities, go ahead and subscribe, because this channel is built for exactly that. Something very weird is happening in North Texas that isn't happening in other metros, and it started with one office park that decided to stop acting like an office park. The blueprint nobody saw coming, in 1999, a tech company called Electronic Data Systems, or EDS, had a problem. EDS was headquartered inside a massive 3,000-acre office campus in Plano called Legacy Business Park. It was beautiful in a sterile, 1980s corporate way. Manicured lawns, reflective glass, ponds with fountains, and absolutely nothing to do. Young engineers kept quitting and moving to Austin or San Francisco because Legacy Business Park had no life in it. You drove in at 8 in the morning, you drove out at 6 in the evening, and in between you ate a sad salad at your desk. EDS pushed developers to try something radical. They carved 150 acres out of the office park and built Legacy Town Center, apartments, shops, restaurants, hotels, and offices, all stitched together so tightly you could walk the whole thing in 10 minutes. It was not a strip mall, it was not a downtown, it was something in between, and it was dropped like a pin into the middle of a corporate campus the size of a small town. It worked. It worked so well that the Environmental Protection Agency studied it as a case study in environmental planning. Office rents across North Dallas jumped more than 20% in the years after it opened. Companies started demanding space near it. Young talent stopped leaving. The lesson was unmistakable. Urbanizing a suburb made the suburb more valuable than the actual downtown it was supposed to be orbiting. Somebody had finally admitted out loud that the bedroom community model was broken, and the fix was to build a small city inside the suburb itself. But Legacy Town Center was not really the beginning of the story. It was the inevitable result of a decision Dallas had already made 50 years earlier, a decision paved in asphalt. Highways, Not happenstance. Go back to the 1950s and the 1960s. Most old American cities grew in a ring pattern. A dense core in the middle, the downtown, surrounded by neighborhoods, surrounded by suburbs, surrounded by farmland. Think of a bullseye. Boston looks like that. Chicago looks like that. Even Los Angeles, as sprawling as it is, has a recognizable center of gravity. Dallas decided to grow differently. When the interstate boom hit, Dallas did not protect its downtown the way eastern cities did. It let the freeways cut, loop, and spread in every direction. Interstate 635 formed a huge ring around the northern half of the metro. The Dallas North Tollway shot straight up into empty prairie. Highway 121 stitched the northern edge together, and every major interchange, every single spot where two of those freeways crossed, became a potential new downtown. Developers noticed. If you could build an office tower next to an interchange, your tenants could reach 3/4 of the metro in 30 minutes without ever touching the old urban core. Land was cheap out there. Taxes were lower. Parking was infinite. So the towers went up along the freeways instead of downtown. And each cluster of towers started pulling restaurants and shops and apartments toward it like a small gravity well. By the 1980s, Dallas had accidentally planted the seeds of something nobody had a word for yet, a metro with no single center. Not one downtown. Many downtowns. The skeleton was already there, waiting for someone to put flesh on the bones. And then the corporation started moving, and everything accelerated. The migration that rewrote the map. This is the part of the story that still stuns city planners when they look at the numbers. Over the last 15 years, some of the biggest corporate relocations in American history landed in Dallas. Toyota North America moved its entire headquarters from California. J.P. Morgan Chase built a massive regional campus. Samsung, Liberty Mutual, Charles Schwab, FedEx office, McKesson, name a Fortune 500 giant, and there is a good chance it planted a flag in the Dallas area in the last decade. Here's the twist. Not one of them moved to downtown Dallas. Not one. Toyota went to Plano. J.P. Morgan went to Legacy West, right next to the old EDS site. Liberty Mutual went to Plano. Charles Schwab picked Westlake, a tiny town most Texans could not place on a map. The chief executive officers of these companies were not picking the city of Dallas. They were picking the places that had already figured out how to feel like a city without the baggage of one. No crumbling parking garages, no 1970s zoning fights, no commute from the suburbs because the office already was the suburb. And Plano and Irving now rank among the best job cities in America, beating the actual city they surround. Think about that for a second. The suburb is outperforming the city on the single metric, jobs, that used to define what a city even was. When the jobs leave downtown, the restaurants follow the jobs. When the restaurants follow, the apartments follow the restaurants. When the apartments follow, the light rail follows the apartments. And at some point in that chain reaction, a suburb quietly crosses a line. It becomes a place where you can live your entire life, work, eat, sleep, date, raise kids, grow old without ever driving into the old city. That is not a bedroom community anymore. That is a city. It just does not have the label yet. The place that broke the definition, if you want to see how far this has gone, look at Las Colinas. Las Colinas is a district inside the suburb of Irving, which sits between Dallas and Fort Worth. It has a man-made lake called Lake Carolyn, built from scratch in the 1970s. It has high-rise office towers. It has waterfront restaurants where you can eat pasta while watching kayakers paddle by. It even has a water taxi in a suburb. It has Dart Light rail stations connecting it to the rest of the metro. It has mid-rise apartments above the shops. It has art installations and a man-made canal system and corporate headquarters and hotels and nightlife. Marketing brochures literally describe it as urban living meets suburban calm, which is a phrase that should not technically make sense but somehow does the moment you stand there. The weirdest part? On paper, on every government document, on every census form, Las Colinas is classified as part of a suburb. That's the official category. And once you have seen it, the word suburb starts to feel useless. The label does not match the thing anymore. The domino effect. Here's where it gets strange. Once Legacy Town Center proved the model worked, Every suburb in North Texas wanted its own version. And I don't mean they talked about it, I mean they built it. Addison built Addison Circle, a walkable district with apartments stacked over shops, a central green, and an annual balloon festival that draws 500,000 people. Richardson built City Line, anchored by a State Farm regional hub big enough to qualify as its own zip code. Frisco built the Star, which is the Dallas Cowboys practice facility wrapped inside a retail and hotel complex the size of a neighborhood, and you can eat dinner next to where the players lift weights. Plano built Legacy West right next door to the original Legacy Town Center, doubling down with a luxury hotel, the J.P. Morgan campus, and restaurants where the wait list runs 2 weeks. Each of these developments has its own identity, its own skyline, its own nightlife crowd, its own real estate market. And they all rose within about 20 years of each other, each one learning from the last. Dallas did not grow one city. It grew 7, maybe 8 depending on how you count. And they are still multiplying. The quiet collapse. There is a cost to all of this, and it shows up in the old downtown. While the suburbs boomed, downtown Dallas hollowed out. Office vacancy rates climbed past 30% in some buildings. Entire towers went up for sale at losses their owners never imagined. Restaurants that depended on lunch hour office workers closed one after another. The streets that were supposed to be the busy heart of North Texas went quiet at 5:30 every evening. Meanwhile, the Dallas-Fort Worth Metro added 423,000 people in a single year, between 2022 and 2023, the fastest growth of any metro in the country. And almost none of that growth landed in the historic core. The newcomers went straight to Frisco, McKinney, Salina, Prosper. They bypassed downtown entirely, like water flowing around a rock. City planners are genuinely split on what to call this. Some see it as a brilliant adaptation. Dallas figured out how to absorb explosive growth without choking a single downtown the way traffic chokes San Francisco or Manhattan. Others see it as a slow-motion civic failure, the abandonment of the one place that was supposed to hold a region's identity together. There is no consensus yet. There may never be. Zoom out, and Dallas is just the clearest example of something happening across Sun Belt America. Phoenix is doing it. Atlanta is doing it. Houston is doing it. Nashville is starting to do it. Instead of one dense core surrounded by sleepy bedroom towns, these metros are growing as constellations, a loose network of mini-cities tied together by freeways and, increasingly, by rail. It is not how Boston grew. It is not how Chicago grew. Those cities had their downtowns locked in before cars existed, and everything afterward had to bend around that center. The Sunbelt metros did not have that constraint. They got to build their shape in the age of the automobile, and the shape they chose was the constellation. This has a name now. Planners call it the polycentric metro. Multiple centers, no single heart. And it might be how every new American metro grows from here on out. Not because anyone planned it, but because Dallas proved it works. What a city even means now. A city used to mean a place with a center and edges. You knew when you were in it because the buildings got taller and the streets got busier. You knew when you left because the buildings shrank. Dallas redefined it. A city in North Texas is a network with nodes. The suburbs feel like cities because they are cities. Dense, walkable, employed, entertained, connected. They just never bothered asking permission to be called that. They skipped the paperwork and built the thing. So the real question is not why Dallas suburbs feel urban. The real question is why we still call them suburbs at all. The label is a holdover from a country that does not quite exist anymore, applied to places that have quietly moved on. 3 forces made it happen. Highways that spread growth instead of concentrating it, corporations that chased talent instead of prestige, and developers who looked at sterile office parks and asked a simple question. What if we just built a town inside it? Put those 3 together, hand them 50 years, and you get the strangest metro in America. A place where the city is everywhere and nowhere. Where downtown is empty and the suburbs have skylines. Where the map has not caught up to the ground. Next time, another metro shaped by forces you can't see from a satellite photo. Until then, keep looking at the map. It's telling you more than you think.